A small request before starting the video. If you love the channel's topic, then subscribe to the channel now and press the bell icon next to it. Because one of your subscriptions encourages me to make better videos. Did you know that the man who inspired millions worldwide was a fraud? A video from today will reveal Clint Eastwood's second life and how he concealed his negative traits. Prepare to watch this video until the finish. Clint Eastwood was initially difficult to understand in Hollywood. His unreadability served as his best camouflage for decades. Audiences witnessed discipline, restraint, and a strong authority. Although the industry needed drama, the individual lived a life of secrecy, emotional detachment, and a propensity of isolating his surroundings into self-contained compartments. People thought they knew him due to his frequent on-screen presence. Consistency proved to be the ideal defense. The speaker did not refute, admit, or provide any explanation. He walked forward with quiet as his support. His early career established a framework. During his time at Rawhide, he developed a calm personality that lasted for decades. Co-stars described him as polite, cautious, and difficult to engage in conversation. Despite this, rumors circulated about affairs, domineering behavior, and rapid romantic changes. However, these legends faded as the people favored the consistent cowboy. Hollywood execs saw the narrative's strength and invested in it. Eastwood's box office success meant no studio wanted to risk losing their consistent income due to curiosity. As he entered the Italian Western age, his public and private personas became more distinct. He collaborated with Sergio Leone, mastered little language, and embodied a silent masculinity. His quiet also protected his personal life, which was spread across several relationships. During this time, he fathered children who were not publicly acknowledged, as proved by records and interviews. He kept partnerships that overlapped without explanation. His co-workers regarded him as a man who could switch between warmth and complete withdrawal. He concealed his volatility by not allowing journalists to get close enough to record it. His marriage to Maggie Johnson followed a similar pattern. Long periods away from home. Private affairs and prolonged separations became routine. Although the marriage survived on paper, his personal life diverged in unexpected directions for decades. Public documents proved he fathered children during that time, but did not acknowledge them until adulthood. The world witnessed stability, but it was simply a photo, not a reality. As his directorial career grew, he gained authority, shielding him from inquiry. According to actors, he was focused, efficient, and did not accept needless talk. He gained recognition and prizes for his discipline, but it also created an environment where no one questioned him. People respected his power without demanding transparency, leading to a more complex private life. Various relationships emerged, dissolved, and overlapped. Partners only realized truths after years of dedication. Others learned from tabloids instead of him. Long after the initial events, these reports emerged from interviews, legal papers, and personal comments, rather than supposition. Online groups started analyzing these trends. Commentators noted the issue of unacknowledged children, overlapping relationships, and constant tales of emotional separation. The debate cited reporting from individuals in Louisiana. Times and other media outlets covered his personal life history. The internet age accentuated what previous decades had overlooked. Conversations raised concerns about his treatment of lovers, refusal to communicate with his families, and portrayal of two distinct personalities. By the peak of his directing career, the distinctions were clear. He shared stories on justice, morality, courage, and consequences while remaining objective about his own contradictions. Critics observed the irony. They saw that a filmmaker who examined responsibility and sacrifice generally avoided personal culpability. These critiques were based on verified interviews and historical reporting, not rumors. As Eastwood did not answer, the argument took on a tone of quiet impatience. People demanded explanations from a man who had built his career on withholding them. As fresh profiles revealed old details, a portrait emerged. The story depicted a man who lived dual lives for almost 30 years, balancing public respect with private fissures that were not obvious due to avoidance of connection. His achievements were undisputed. His effect on movies remained unaffected. The personal environment he created revealed a pattern that challenged viewers' perceptions of the man they thought they knew. Not a mistake. There was a consistent secrecy structure. But everything collapsed when the truth was revealed. The truth. Clint Eastwood's decades-long silence was not revealed by confession. The issue was revealed gradually through birth documents, court filings, interviews, and discreet acknowledgments after the damage had been done. For years, he confidently navigated Hollywood, believing his personal world could remain guarded. However, the seal ultimately broke. The revelation of his hidden life revealed a trend that had been developing from his early career years. The initial revelations involved substantiated reports of children he never acknowledged during their youth. According to publications, he fathered a daughter in the late 1950s but never acknowledged her. This reality was discovered decades later when she reunited with siblings who also grew up beyond the public spotlight. Other revelations followed. Journalists revealed hidden children from partnerships that extended beyond public awareness. The gap between his controlled public persona and complex private reality grew with each confirmation. At this time, online discussions increased in volume. Comment sections questioned why a man who relied on controlled strength refused to take responsibility for his families. Critics cited his marriage to Maggie Johnson, which lasted on paper but resulted in long-term romantic separation. According to interviews, women reported abruptly ending long relationships after discovering a man was juggling many lovers. These tales were not rumors. They were exposed in public profiles, interviews, and legal filings. One of the most talked about stories was Roxanne Tunis. The couple had a daughter during their decade-long relationship. The relationship exists outside of his marriage. However, he did not openly admit it until later. Following the revelation, online critics questioned how he concealed such a crucial aspect of his life from the industry and followers who believed they knew him. Sandra Locke's story was a pivotal moment. A 14-year connection was exposed in her memoir and legal documents. She described a world of promises, shared work, and assumed stability, only to discover concurrent long-term romances. The breakdown of their partnership led to legal complications. Financial arrangements, property concerns, and professional impediments were linked to him in court records. These details were widely published by national outlets. Upon public awareness of the issue, discussions intensified. Many online forums questioned the ethics of a man who managed many lives while carefully regulating public access. The pattern resumed with flight attendant Jaceline Reeves, who had 2 children with Eastwood. Their identities were concealed until adulthood. Later records and interviews corroborated the timeline. This chapter is cited by online commentators as a prime example of his double existence. The children grew up outside Hollywood while their father maintained a global reputation for integrity and independence. The internet was used to reconstruct his personal history in real time as these stories emerged. Forum users analyzed stories from People, LA Times, and Vanity Fair. The authors observed long-term relationships, overlapping obligations, and abrupt ends. The public reacted harder. Some believed his personal life contradicted the values portrayed in his films. Others observed a deliberate emotional distance. The criticism did not focus on a single blunder. The focus was on the duration of the secret and the amount of persons affected. Critics re-examined his friendship with Frances Pfizer. The couple dated in the early 1990s and had a daughter. Interviews from that time showed Fisher's emotional commitment and hope for the future. Their relationship ended unexpectedly. The public soon learned he had started a new relationship with Dina Ruiz, whom he ultimately married. This timeline prompted online inquiries. Each chapter of his personal life seemed to end after another had begun, according to commentators. The internet explored the impact of his silence on public perception as additional facts became available. People questioned whether his quiet shielded his family or from culpability. Reddit and Quora discussions compared old stories to fresh ones. Many condemned his practice of delaying recognition until years later, often after the individuals involved had already spoken publicly. The opponents noted interviews where former partners reported emotional estrangement, sudden separations, and a lack of closure. After the disclosures were fully revealed, viewers could no longer see the man on TV without recalling his world outside the frame. Each report adds another layer. Each former partner interview added a new voice to the chorus. The conflict between his directorial legacy and personal choices was unavoidable. Even if his successes remained intact, his personal life displayed a level of seclusion that surprised even his long-standing followers. Clint Eastwood and Sandra Locke started their relationship as a partnership and professional alignment. Over time, it became a struggle for control, influence, and power. Locke's memoir and legal documents disclose her experience of manipulation, coercion, and emotional abandonment. The story begins with her faith in him from collaborative projects. The story begins with personal connection and gradually reveals a decade-long lie. Even before. Through lawsuits, she documented secret patterns that were not visible to the public. The patterns involved ongoing concealment, overlapping lives, and a high level of control in all interactions. Locke said that Eastwood coerced her into several abortions, claiming he did not want more children. Her stories indicate that these were not casual talks, but rather intense directives. He was also accused of encouraging her to undergo sterilization. Evidence of these incidents in court files and biographies suggests a continuous pattern of influence on life-changing decisions. At the time, the public was unaware of these circumstances, and the resulting silence shaped his double life. During the 14-year partnership, Locke reported experiencing both secrecy and professional manipulation. She learned Eastwood's Warner Brothers development arrangement was not meant to enhance her career. Legal filings suggest the initiative was structured to fail, tying her to a studio with little prospects while he maintained control over her career. Lawyers and journalists described the situation as a deliberate attempt to limit her opportunities, and reporting at the time confirmed that the deal was funded by Eastwood's influence, designed to protect his narrative and maintain dominance over the partnership. As the relationship worsened, control measures increased. When Locke returned to their shared house, she found the locks changed and her possessions gone. Multiple accounts confirm this episode as legal and psychological drama, resulting in her temporary displacement and public humiliation while demonstrating authority. Many online comments have mentioned this episode as evidence of his vengeful conduct, describing him as a man who could maintain public charm while maintaining private control. Biographer Patrick McGilligan emphasized this capacity in his reporting, noting Eastwood's ability to manipulate perception and protect his image with a cold efficiency that often left those closest to him exposed. Locke's legal pursuit of palimony and fraud exposed these intimate realities to public scrutiny. Court documents support her claim that the Warner Brothers transaction was a fraud and that his actions had a significant impact on her career. These materials, now readily available, verified her long-held claims. Eastwood constructed his relationships and business arrangements to suit him while limiting her. At the time, major newspapers like the Washington Post covered the legal procedure and contrasted the represented man on TV with the man behind closed doors. The patterns in the Locke case were also present in his other relationships. The individual maintained numerous identities, switching between lovers, keeping children private, and preserving emotional distance. Online critics noticed the continuity of this behavior, comparing it to accounts from other women including Jaceline Reeves and Frances Fisher. Wealth, influence, and celebrity were frequently mentioned as techniques for maintaining secret. Numerous Reddit threads, blogs, and fan comments highlighted Locke's life experiences, highlighting the psychological impact of long-term exposure to an unaccountable companion. Eastwood was mostly mute during the legal battles, only speaking in generalities when asked by the press. Locke's stories and court documents depicted a meticulous, methodical, and charming man who protected his image and exercised authority privately. The contrast between public praise and private discord was unavoidable. Writers and commentators described a tension between the hero persona he had cultivated on screen and the series of personal manipulations documented in legal records. The public realized that his capacity to compartmentalize life was not just discipline, but an intentional power structure that dictated the fortunes of those closest to him. By the end of Locke's court battles, the story changed. The world no longer blindly accepted the silent Stoic symbol. People recognized that his reputation was preserved by selective reveal and perception manipulation. Critics claimed his actions had deeper consequences beyond personal relationships, indicating a decades-long practice of emotional control and deception. Online discussion boards analyzed the timeline, revealing how his personal life remained secret as his business life blossomed, and the psychological impact on individuals involved. The revelations regarding Clint Eastwood's private life prompted audiences to rethink their beliefs. The internet provided a platform for him to reconcile his dual life decades later. Reddit threads, archival blog articles, and discussion forums exhaustively documented his relationship chronology, hidden offspring, and court issues revealing control patterns. Commenters referenced verifiable interviews with Sandra Locke, Francis Fisher, Jocelyn Reeves, and Maggie Johnson. Their analysis included court documents and public declarations. They criticized him as selfish and vengeful, focusing on the emotional impact on the women and children he left behind. Each claim referenced published evidence, interviews, or biographical accounts. The incessant conversations were fueled by the disparity between his public persona and private life. Biographers supported this viewpoint. Sean Levy's depiction of Eastwood's personal life reveals his compartmentalized approach to manipulating appearances and maintaining various realities. Patrick McGilligan praised his ability to manipulate people, direct films, and maintain a high level of secrecy. Journalists who loved his work revealed that understanding his personal life changed their perception of him behind the camera. These assessments were not opinions alone. Interviews, court papers, and personal accounts provided the foundation for them. Eastwood's secret existence encompassed more than simply covert love affairs and unidentified children. He mastered strength in his personal, public, and professional interactions. He had a strong, deliberate, and ruthless control. Those who worked with him recall his ability to captivate a room, direct a film, and quiet those who ventured too close. This involves both discipline and manipulation. On set, he was not simply the boss. Owned the room. Later, crew and actors said that he often isolated those who challenged him. Allegations of manipulated contracts, expulsions, and missed opportunities. The same compartmentalization he adopted in his personal life also applied to his profession. The fortress he erected around himself was so precise that few could enter. His 2012 RNC speech was one of his more theatrical public performances. After entering the stage, he pretended to be Barack Obama and asked questions to an empty chair. It is, Clint Eastwood debates an unappearing president. The stunt quickly became a meme. People called it Eastwooding, mocking the empty chair setup. Critics piled on. Roger Ebert, a film critic, considered his speech sad and pathetic. CNN's Howard Kurt called it the most unusual convention moment ever saw. However, Eastwood later claimed it was spontaneous. He did not clarify his plans with anyone beforehand. He later expressed contrition over the entire situation. During an interview, he declared the speech ridiculous, citing inspiration from a Neil Diamond song. It wasn't enough to end the ridicule. The speech demonstrated his willingness to extend his public persona for maximum impact. This prank aims to influence perception rather than engage in meaningful discourse. His political deception was linked to his personal machinations. It felt like an extension of them. He used influence, drama, and ego to maintain his image. This was more than just hiding secrets. He aimed to control everything around him. And it was seen online. Reddit piled in. They argued over an empty chair and lost. Another person clarified that there is a distinction between a beep and a crazy old man yelling at a chair. He went from a famous actor to a lonely elderly guy addressing an empty chair. In retrospect, Clint Eastwood's debate on an empty chair may have been the GOP's first step towards using posting as a political platform. Better speech than Clint, for sure. The chair talked less nonsense. People's reaction was even more harsh than when they discovered his other life. Perhaps it was the collapse of everything at the same moment people were at their last for his support. It was evident when someone said, "I lost respect for Clint Eastwood that night. He was disgusting." The manipulations extended beyond theatrical performances. Eastwood used the same level of control and secrecy to his personal connections. The Sandra Locke narrative sticks out. He was accused of coercion, emotional manipulation, and professional sabotage in her lawsuit files. He was accused of pressuring her into abortions, promoting sterilization, and arranging a studio agreement that was intended to fail. An agreement was reportedly supposed to bind her to Warner Brothers without allowing her true independence. That wasn't romance. That was plan. Locke said that her possessions were gone upon leaving. Locke's changed. A move that resembled eviction rather than a separation. The court struggle was intense and personal. Through court records, she revealed a person who constructed a public hero image while silently influencing her life in his shadow.